I've officially been diagnosed, by the way, with what's been wrong with
Hmm.
me.
Okay.
I have uh I have abnormal blood, which is exciting.
Abnormal blood.
Yeah, basically I am deficient in like several things, and it's made me borderline anemic.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also have pneumonia, and I've had pneumonia for a month.
Eh,
Yep. So that's been great.
doesn't sound great.
No, it's not been fun.
No.
Like you
Mhm.
said, that explains the whole coughing up blood thing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
do it.
Means it.
Have they stuck you on like antibiotics or
Yeah,
anything?
well, the downside is it's the third time I've been put on antibiotics this month. So
Oh,
it's like a really strong one. And if it doesn't work, then I think that officially makes me antibiotic resistant. And I don't know what
shit.
happens after that.
Hmm.
Just get some new lungs.
Yeah, seriously.
Mhm. They should
But
be easy
yeah,
to find.
I had to get like blood work and x-rays done for them to figure that out.
Hmm.
Man, it's not good.
No, not optimal.
Not optimal.
Not optimal.
But oh well.
Oh wow. What a blase way to look at your own health.
Yeah. Hi everybody, welcome to Smart Avengers. My name is Corey, and with me is Dylan and John. How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Pretty good.
So that's the
All things considered,
all
yeah,
things
we're doing all right.
considered. That's the explanation for why I've been coughing throughout episodes the last like month or so.
We're relatively fine,
Yeah.
considering.
Two
We're just
two
a
out of
little
three of us
warm.
seemingly are healthy.
Well, we're melting. We're melting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
Wow.
today, uh, it's really hot in the UK and it's really hot in America. So I thought we would spare ourselves being sweaty messes on camera and return to a favorite staple of mine, which is introducing you guys to villains of DC Comics from certain time periods. So we've done an episode that was dedicated just to Aquaman villains. We've done an episode dedicated to Wonder Woman villains. And we've done an episode dedicated to the golden age of Batman. And
Yes.
today we're going to be doing an episode dedicated to the Silver Age of Batman. So
Yes.
Mm.
there's not going to be any repeats on this one in a sense. Like we won't be talking about like what Joker or Two Face or whatever we're up to in the Silver Age, because we covered those guys already in the Golden Age and did the comparisons to the present time. But that's not to say there are not going to be some familiar faces on this one.
Okay.
So I think there's going to be some really good ones there, like people you recognize, people you are never going to have seen before, and I have a feeling I think I know who Dylan's favorite or least favorite is going to be at the end of this.
When you say favorite and least favorite, is it the
The same
same
person.
person?
Yeah, it could go either
Oh
way.
wow.
You're either going to really like him or really not like him. So I think
Is he a pedophile?
maybe, maybe I don't know what his hard drive looks like.
Oh, okay.
So that being said, this is this is a bigger PowerPoint slide, so we should probably go ahead and just jump into it.
Let's do it.
All right. So, as you guys can see here, this is the Silver Age world of Batman villains, which I actually think that actually might be a Golden Age Batman image there. So, real quick though, before we really dive into who these characters are, let's define what the Silver Age is. So, the Silver Age of comics ran from 1956 to 1970, which saw an increase of sales in superhero comics after there had been a decline in the late stages of the Golden Age. So in the decline, that's when horror, crime, war, and like romance comics were selling a lot, but that did cause the creation of the Comics Code of Authority after concerns were made that comic books were leading to a rise in juvenile delinquency. And the Comics Code Authority's 1954 rules required Batman stories to avoid sympathetic criminals, excessive violence, leading to lighter, more family friendly tales, and the removal of darker elements, as the rainbow costume Batman image here illustrates.
Yeah, can I real quick ask a question
Go for it, brother.
about this picture?
Yes.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think I can't remember the exact story, but I think he's fighting a villain that has like some sort of a color beam, and if he wore like every time that he fought him, like he was hit with the color beam, and like he wasn't gonna be able to move or something. So
For
yeah,
the record, do we have to explain to the Spotify listeners why I just said what the fuck? Like,
yeah. So by the way, if you're choosing to listen to this on Spotify, bad choice for an episode to listen to. Because this is all visual elements on this one. But yes, this is an image, very famous image of Batman donning a red but looks very pink Batman costume, with Robin asking him, hey, yesterday you wore the green one. Why are you wearing red? And he's like, I have to wear a different colored bat costume every night. Which McFarlane made action figures of each of those colors. So like if you have the monetary means and the desire to track them all down, you can buy every single one of those Batman colored costume figures.
I couldn't imagine a bigger waste of my money.
Action figure collectors are a breed of people, that is for sure.
Oh, fucking let me tell you, man. I used to work with a guy in game, and he a lovely guy, but he had a shed at the back of his house dedicated to just collectible stuff, and a lot of it was like Star Wars toys. He had a lot of Star Wars toys. It was ridiculous. I'm like, holy fuck, dude. You want to spend your money on, like, I don't know, trip to Spain or something? Like, is it all Star Wars, or like, you ever think about putting some aside for your family? You know what I mean?
Well, a fool and his money are soon parted.
He wasn't a fool. He was a very smart man, but he loved
He had
Star
a
Wars.
shed full
So
of Star Wars toys.
In my eyes, he wasn't a fool 'cause he liked Star Wars. You know,
Fair enough.
but he's a good man.
So
That'll be cut out. So
I mean, we can keep it all in if you want.
I didn't tell you what his name was, so
No, you didn't.
That's fine.
So he still has an anonymity on his side.
Also, he's not going to listen to the show. So.
Likely not. So, real quick though, to get back to it, I decided like what did the Comics Code of Authority actually detail? So I looked it up, included it here. So there was a period of time up until like probably the late 90s, early 2000s, where if you were to buy a comic book, you would see this stamp on the front cover, approved by the Comics Code Authority, which meant that the comic book inside abided by these rules. And here's I've found all the rules and put them out here and just kind of go through them real fast. Crime shall never be presented in such a way as to create sympathy for the criminal, to promote distrust of the forces of law and justice, or to inspire others with a desire to imitate criminals. Rule 2. Scenes of excessive violence shall be prohibited. Scenes of brutal torture, excessive and unnecessary knife and gunplay, physical agony, the gory and gruesome crime shall be eliminated.
Physical agony, but not mental agony.
No. Rule 3. Criminals shall not be presented so as to be rendered glamorous or to occupy a position which creates a desire for emulation. 4. Policemen, judges, government officials, and respected institutions shall never be represented in such a way as to create disrespect for established authority. 5. All scenes of horror, excessive bloodshed, gory or gruesome crimes, depravity, lust, sadism, masochism shall not be permitted. A lot of these rules are very redundant.
What I love about America is it's the land of the free.
Yep. Well, that's okay. There's more.
Oh my god!
My god.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules. Was it rule 6? I want to say no comic magazine shall use the words horror or terror in its title. 7. All lurid, unsavory, gruesome illustrations shall be eliminated. 8.
Eliminated.
Inclusion of stories dealing with evil shall be used or shall be published only where the intent is to illustrate a moral issue, and in no case shall evil be presented alluringly, nor so as to injure the sensibilities of the reader.
Fuck me.
9. In every instance, good shall triumph over evil, and the criminal punished for his misdeeds. 10. Okay. If crime is depicted, it shall be as a sordid and unpleasant activity.
I I love the idea of somebody deciding to go, I fucking love committing crimes.
11. Scenes dealing with or instruments associated with Walking Dead, torture, vampires and vampirism, ghouls, cannibalism, and werewolfism are prohibited.
What?
12. Profanity, obscenity, smut, vulgarity, or words or symbols which have acquired undesirable meanings are forbidden. 12. Females shall be drawn realistically without exaggeration of any physical qualities. Obviously, as time went on, they revisited these rules and lightened them up. If we do a Bronze Age episode of this, I will find the updated 1970s and 80s versions of these rules. These are the original rules from the 50s.
Well, I was going to ask, at what point did they go, we just got to get rid of this shit? This is not working.
Gradually, they just dropped it. It was a very slow process. Like I said, you could still find Comics Code Authority stamps in the 90s.
I also would like to ask a question real quick. They said
Sure.
females shall be drawn realistically with exaggeration of any physical qualities. Men can still be drawn unrealistically with giant fucking penises. That's fine.
I think there just weren't. Well, I mean, here's the thing. There were definitely some of those books going around for sure, but they weren't they weren't necessarily on the newspaper stand.
I love the idea, even with those books that the females are drawn hyper realistically, and the dudes are these fucking comic ass, Rob Liefeld grotesquely unproportioned monsters. That's fine.
I lost count. I want to say 13. Suggestive and salacious illustration or suggestive posture is unacceptable.
Posture.
14. Nudity with meretricious purpose and salacious postures shall not be permitted in the advertising of any product. Clothed figures shall never be presented in such a way as to be offensive or contrary to good taste or morals. Nudity in any form is prohibited, as is indecent or undue exposure. Illicit sex relations are neither to be hinted at nor portrayed. Rape scenes as well as sexual abnormalities are unacceptable.
Kind of fair.
Sex perversion or any inference to same is strictly forbidden. And seduction and rape shall never be shown or suggested. Those are the original Comics Code of Authority rules.
How often before these rules are written were they just drawing rampant sex scenes all the time?
Crime and horror comics were very, very popular.
But
romance comics didn't really have any of that, but yeah.
We gotta step in. There's way too much rape being drawn on a little picture. You gotta cut that down.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yep. So with the Comics Code of Authority out of way, we'll keep these rules in mind as we start to go through who's Batman's enemies in the Silver Age were, and we'll see just how this was applied. So we're gonna start up first with a heavy hitter. It's Mr. Freeze.
Wow.
What?
So Mr. Freeze first debuted in Batman number 121 in February of 1959. However, he was called Mr. Zero first, and his name was changed to Mr. Freeze in 1966 when they adapted the character for the 1960s TV show. His Silver Age origins is a lab accident causes him to need cold temperatures to survive, but does not include the ailing wife angle that was introduced for the animated series post-Crisis. His main focus was on stealing gems and diamonds for an undisclosed reason. And on the TV show, when he was first adapted, the character was intended to be Austrian, thus making Arnold Schwarzenegger technically an accurate portrayal.
Hey, can we really talk about how this guy has no neck?
Look how happy he is, though.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the happiest image I've ever seen in my entire life.
I love his little grease gun that has 2 pointers.
He's just, that's his little freeze gun. Yeah, like I say, he looks downright neighborly.
Is he
It's like an oil can or something.
Yeah, he appears to be in a boat. Yes.
What the fuck?
So yeah, that was the first. This was the introduction to Mr. Freeze. Everyone knows and loves him. Or Mr. Zero. There was a lot of that, by the way. There, just as a heads up, there's a lot of this character is known by this name, but they were introduced as something entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, any further thoughts on the man who was Mr. Freeze?
I'm glad he changed his costume.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm surprised as well he never changed his name to Dr. Freeze, because, I mean, clearly he was a scientist, so...
Really?
Yeah, that is interesting how he was never Dr. Freeze.
Just a regular man.
Yeah, he was just humble, you know?
A normal man.
Because you get those people every now and then that's like, I have a doctorate in education, so you have to call me doctor. And you're like, okay.
He was
And
just so humble. He has like 50 different PhDs, but he doesn't like people knowing about it.
there
He
you go.
spent 6 years at free school, and he was like, "No, I'm not gonna throw that in anyone's faces."
No.
Right,
Like I
yeah.
said, he's a
Which
humble
is
man.
funny because nobody ever graduates from free school. Only him.
Is it because their grades are frozen?
It's because it's abnormally boring.
Ah, there you go. All right, we ready to move past Mr. Freeze?
Yeah.
All right, up next, someone else we all know and love, Poison Ivy.
Hello.
She first debuted in Batman number 181 in 1966. Her real name was originally Lillian Rose, and didn't take up the name Pamela Isley until post-Crisis continuity when Neil Gaiman renamed her and recreated her origin. However, her origin is still very similar to what it used to be. She was a talented and attractive not biologist, but botanist from Seattle who was seduced by a criminal into stealing an ancient artifact that contained an ancient herb. She was then poisoned by that very herb when her criminal partner determined that she knew too much. And as a result of the herb, Ivy became immune to all plant toxin and used them to manipulate men into assisting her with her crimes. So the modern day adaptation of Poison Ivy, she has green skin and she can control plant life and stuff. Not the case here. She was just someone who was immune to toxin and just could kind of like blow it out like powder and stuff. Very similar again to the Batman and Robin take on the character to a degree, because that version of Poison Ivy really wasn't like commanding plant life for the most part. She was just kind of blowing her little love dust everywhere.
Mm.
Right, but that's a very situational power to have, isn't it? To be immune to toxins. You're
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna rob this bank. I'm like, well, I don't have any toxins, but I do have this gun.
yeah.
Like,
Well, why have a
you know,
gun when you can blow up powder in a security guard's face and have him rob the bank for you?
that is true. That is true. Right, fair enough.
All right. Any further thoughts on Poison Ivy before we move forward?
She looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
very realistic.
very good art for her.
Yeah, correct. Very realistic, not over exaggerated at all.
Now, mind you, 1959 to 1966, the art did jump by miles. That Mr.
Better
Freeze with his little goofy face, that was
better than the Mr. Freeze
that
picture.
was about
I
10
don't think
years
so.
later. The art improved. All right, up next, Clayface 2. He first debuted in Detective Comics number 298 in December of 1961. So the first Clayface was Basil Carlo, who we talked about in the Golden Age, and he was the actor who just wore a mask that looked like a character he used to play, and he would stab his rivals with knives. This Clayface is more of the one that we're familiar with. So this is Matthew Hagen, who is a treasure hunting thief who found a pool of special clay that allowed him to shapeshift if he coated his body in it. So the Clayface transformation would wear off after a number of days, and he'd have to go back to the pool of clay to regain his powers. But he was seemingly killed off during Crisis on Infinite Earths way back when, and they sort of like consolidated all of the Clayfaces into one. So as you can see here on the art, we have an example of how his powers worked.
I mean, he looks a bit like the Thing if he'd been left out in the sun too long.
Yeah.
Just a wet rock man. But I mean, what else is clay, right? But wet rock.
That is true. That's true.
My body is hard again, so that's good.
All right. Well, Corey.
All right.
Bad
Up
for
next.
you.
Up next. Firefly 2. So he first debuted in Batman number 126 in September of 1959. So the very first Firefly debuted in the Golden Age, and he was sort of like kind of very similar to Mysterio, where he was this out-of-work special effects artist who used light and optical illusions to commit crime. This version of Firefly is Ted Carson, who is a wealthy socialite who gambled away his family fortune and took to crime to get the money back. So there was a trend here where there were sort of Batman but a villain gimmick characters a lot. Like we talked about this in the Golden Age. We didn't talk about when we were talking about the first Firefly, but when we were talking about the original take on Deadshot, where it was like another wealthy guy who used his money and resources to put on a costume, but commit crimes instead. So Ted Carson was another Batman, but a villain gimmick. So industrialist background, used gadgets, had a weird little costume, as you can see from this green and yellow stripe number with wings. And he used a light ray on his head that would disorient his enemies, and he had a sound wave device that would break glass for him.
Good.
Okay, up next, Calendar Man. So we're familiar with Calendar Man. He first debuted in Detective Comics number 259 in September of 1958. The Calendar Man that I think we are very familiar with is the one from The Long Halloween, who has the tattoos that circle around his head that just are the abbreviated months. But yes, this is Julian Gregory Day, play off the Julian and Gregorian calendars. His crimes originally all had a relationship to the date that they were committed, the theme being to a day of the week or to a holiday or special anniversary, and he would plan his entire crime around that particular day. He would often also wear different costumes, which would correspond to the significance of the date. But he does have a main costume, as you can see here, that includes a cape made out of the tearaway pages from calendars. And of course, went on to play a very huge role in Long Halloween storyline as an advisor to Batman in a very Hannibal Lecter-esque way. Also played by Sean Gunn in the DCU.
Really?
Yep. One of Sean's many
which
characters.
movie was that?
It was The Suicide Squad.
Huh.
He he's seen making fun of Polka-dot Man.
Fair enough.
Yep. So yeah, what do you think of Calendar Man's original costume here with the numbers?
Not much.
I mean, it's quite something.
I like how weirdly blousy the top is. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Gives him some room.
Yeah.
And he's got the Buccaneer boots as well.
We love a Buccaneer boot.
Mm-hmm.
The cape is a very weird design, though. Like, surely people would just be pulling off the pages from it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks kind of like
constantly.
just based off this cover they're just falling off.
Yeah.
I also don't know why he's like twice as big as Batman and Robin.
I quite like the little belt, like they kind of tie it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also covered in numbers, it looks like.
Well, has to be.
Of course. There's gonna be you're gonna see a lot more of that moving on. So
okay.
After Calendar Man, we have Lord Deathman. Lord Deathman debuted in Batman number 180 in May of 1966. He was an insane Japanese criminal mastermind who is immortal in the current continuity, but used yoga to fake his death in the Silver Age. He is also stuck in his skeleton costume and cannot remove it. So, after being apprehended by Batman during a gym heist in his very first storyline, Lord Deathman is sentenced to death at his trial and has a heart attack and dies after mocking the judge for thinking he could be killed. He then returns to life and then dies again after another confrontation before Batman realizes that he's simply faking his death. So after he digs him up to find that he's still alive, Lord Deathman is struck by lightning and seemingly killed permanently.
Okay, but like the other two times he faked his death.
Yes.
So the third time Batman sees him get struck by lightning and goes, "This one's for real."
Yeah, I think. Yeah, because Lord Deathman did not come back until Grant Morrison brought him back.
Thank you, Grant Morrison.
Yes, he. I am Lord Deathman.
Classic catchphrase.
Absolutely, the best one.
Yeah. The T-shirt.
But yes, they like I said in current continuity, he is immortal, so he cannot die.
Well, he's the Lord of Death, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Lord of Death, man.
Thank you.
All right. After Lord Deathman, we have Blockbuster. So,
okay.
Blockbuster debuted in Detective Comics number 345 in November of 1965. Blockbuster was an expert chemist who inadvertently turned himself into a mindless brute while testing a formula that would increase his strength. His brother Roland, who was a career criminal, saw an opportunity to manipulate his brother into committing crime for him. Ultimately, Blockbuster was defeated when Batman chose to reveal his real identity to him and treat him with kindness, which made Blockbuster not so angry and vicious. Blockbuster was an original member of the Suicide Squad and died on a mission to face the monster Brimstone that was unleashed by Darkseid in the Legends storyline. And ultimately, Roland would get his hands on the Blockbuster serum, make some modifications to it, and become the new Blockbuster and retain his intelligence to become a very big part of Nightwing's rogue gallery in Bloodhaven.
Okay.
So I always thought his sandals were weird. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know candles. Yeah. Yeah.
What's he crushing there as well?
You know, at first, because like you're just so used to modern time stuff, I was like, oh, it's like a cell phone. I'm like, well, it wouldn't have been a cell phone in 1965 or whenever this image is from. A brick,
Yeah.
maybe? I don't know.
Why would he hold a brick?
That's very true.
He hates bricks.
Hates
He
bricks.
does hate bricks, man. He should have been called Brickbuster.
Should have been called Brickbuster.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. After Blockbuster, we have the Terrible Trio. So, Dylan, we actually talked about the Terrible Trio very recently. But they first debuted in Detective Comics number 253 in March of 1958. The three members of the Terrible Trio are referred to by the animal mask they wear: the fox, the shark, and the vulture. I have never seen a shark that looked quite like that, by the way. He looks kind of like a weird Bullet Bill.
Yes.
He looks a bit like the weasels from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, he does.
Yes. Yeah.
So all three members are genius-level inventors who specialize in the domain of their animal masks, so land, sea, and air. And after facing and failing to defeat Batman and Robin on two separate occasions, the trio tried their luck in Portsmouth City, but were defeated by Dr. Midnight, of all people. Are you guys familiar with Dr. Midnight?
A little bit.
The name rings a bell.
Member of the JSA.
Okay.
There you go. But yes, the trio still turn up every few years. Recently, they showed up in a Batgirl run, and very recently, they were villains in a Batman and Robin storyline. So, still get a lot of use to the Terrible Trio.
Interesting.
It's a very sassy image there as well. The shark looks like he's not going to take any guff from anyone.
I don't know how they see out of those masks.
Normal way.
Fair. Okay, up next, Professor Milo. Professor Milo first debuted in Detective Comics number 247 in September of 1957. He is a throwback to the mad scientist characters of the Golden Age. So Professor Achilles Milo was a corrupt chemist and scientist who became obsessed with power and torturing others. He was able to create strong and powerful serums and gases that made Batman for a time afraid of anything bat-shaped or related, and was designing one that would make Batman want to commit suicide. However, long-term exposure to his own chemicals drove him insane, but he has since reformed and has become an advisor to Batman on chemicals and is a professor at Gotham University.
He reformed.
He reformed.
He was so anxious to kill Batman, and then he just was like, nah, don't worry about it.
All those chemicals, they drove him crazy. He finally made an anti-crazy chemical.
And just kept it to himself.
I like his Mo Howard bowl cut as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of the time haircut.
We are all fans of the Three Stooges. All right. So, after Professor Milo, I think this is where it's going to start getting a little weird, if it hasn't already. Yep, Polka-dot Man. That's about right. So, Polka-dot Man first debuted in Detective Comics number 300, the monumental 300 issue of the comic, and they're like, you know who we need to introduce? Polka-dot Man. However, he was introduced as Mr. Polka-dot in February of 1962. He wore a bizarre costume covered in spots that he could remove, and the spots could be used and turned into deadly weapons and bizarre escape vehicles, etc. In his first outing, he attempted to rob locations that were spot and dot theme/named. He went on to successfully sue Gotham police for police brutality after Detective Harvey Bullock viciously beat him while bringing him into custody, and ultimately became a joke character who was unceremoniously killed off when the gang he was in turned on one another. And of course, he's gotten a lot of recent play due to the aforementioned The Suicide Squad movie, where he's played by David Asmalchian. Where I think in the movie the spots are they come out of his skin because he is infected with a multiversal virus by his own mother.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
The eye holes of that mask are bothersome to me. It looks like he just
What
does
if they're
not have
not-
eyeballs.
Well, what if they're not eye holes? They're just dots
They're just, I mean, I think that was the point of just making him look like more dots.
or dots.
All right. So after Polka-dot Man, we have the Clue Master. So
Mhm.
Clue Master first debuted in Detective Comics number 351 in May of 1966. He is a failed game show host who turned to a life of crime. He leaves clues behind at the scene of his crimes to taunt Batman, but they are explicitly not riddles, because the Riddler does not care for him for very obvious reasons. Um,
Sure.
the Clue Master then went on to become a member of the Injustice League and then the Justice League Antarctica, with other down on their luck villains. And very famously, his daughter is Stephanie Brown, who is the fourth Robin, the third Batgirl, and spoiler.
Why a list?
Yes, Clue Master. Those little pellets on his outfit are little glass capsules that contain gas and flashbangs and what have you.
What kind of clue is that supposed to be?
It's to get one. Get a clue. And then he smashes a vial.
Okay.
Okay. Up after the Clue Master, we have Catman.
Mhm.
Not the king of cats, who we talked about in the Golden Age. This is Catman. So Catman first debuted in Detective Comics number 311 in January of 1963. He's the son of wealthy trophy hunters, and his name is Thomas Blake, who he was a big game hunter himself and poacher, who turned to crime after depleting his family fortune and growing bored with big cats. He modeled his look and his penchant for cat-related crimes and gadgets after Catwoman, and the pair had a love-hate relationship as Catwoman was frequently accused of crimes that he had committed. He's another example of a Batman but bad character, and for many years was a joke character until he was successfully rehabbed by Gail Simone in her Secret Six series, where she made him a bisexual sex icon. Everybody is
Does sound
wanting
like
to fuck Catman in that book.
sure. Why not?
So there you go.
I can kind of see why Catwoman would hate him,
Yeah.
because how is she getting mixed up with him when he's committing crimes, when he looks more like Batman than he does Catwoman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all the cat related things. He also fought with a cat o' nine tails like she did for a while.
Yeah, but also he's a man and she's a woman.
Yeah. He's also wearing a
So-
orange and yellow costume.
Yes, and has a cape that I don't think Catwoman had.
Yep. Actually, this version of Catwoman, that little hint of green you see is a cape. It is not in the image.
Sure, of course. That's
Yep.
a cape.
All right. Up next, though, we have Dr. Double X. Dr. Double X first debuted in Detective Comics number 261 in November of 1958. Dr. Simon X discovered that energy auras that surround every human being can be amplified, strengthened, and given enormous powers and enabled to function separately from the host. Thus, one experiment later, he creates his energy duplicate, Double X. The separation of himself and Double X caused his fragile mind to shatter in the process. So, Double X has enhanced strength, control over electricity, shapeshifting, and flight. And when the machine that created Double X was destroyed and they merged back together again, after repeated use, Dr. X learned that he could just summon Dr. Double X by sheer will. So, there you go. So that little like ghostly image behind him is basically a duplicate of him that has powers.
Okay. That's very convoluted.
It's incredibly
Mhm.
convoluted. I also think his
Yeah.
mask makes him look like a chicken.
Like a red rooster.
Very, very Terry Taylor. And trust me, as someone who is a very proud Terry Taylor hater, that's not something you want to be associated with.
Proud of it.
Oh, yeah, I cannot stand Terry Taylor.
Okay.
I watch a lot of like late 80s, early 90s, like NWA. I've seen so many tailor-made man matches. I fucking hate it. He's so boring. There was a
Fair
period
enough.
of time his tag team partner was Greg the Hammer Valentine, and it was like the perfect remedy for sleep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. All right. Well, enough about Dr. Double X, who we clearly talked about for a good bit there. Let's move on to Kite Man.
Hey.
So Kite Man first debuted in Batman number 133 in August of 1960. He turned his childhood fascination with kites into a criminal career centered around using various size kites to assist him with his crimes. His real name is Charles Brown, and yes, he is named after Charlie Brown. And he was killed in post-crisis continuity by the Intergang when he refused to join. But in the rebirth era of DC Comics, he has found popularity due to Tom King's use of him in his Batman run and his own spin-off from the Harley Quinn animated series, which I believe is called Hell Yeah, Kite Man.
Mm-hmm.
So, John, it sounds like you're familiar with Kite Man.
Yeah, basically from those two things you mentioned, the Tom King run, and more so from the Harley Quinn animated series rather than the spin-off. But yeah, who doesn't love Kite Man? He does exactly what he says on the tin.
Exactly. And you see in the image there, he's holding up fans to blow these kites at Batman and Robin, who appear to be shielding themselves from them for some reason.
Very effective.
Yes.
No one wants to get hit by a kite. Jeez.
Not at all. All right, moving on from Kite Man, we have Signal Man. So, Signal Man first debuted in Batman number 112 in December of 1957. He was originally a small-time crook. Philip Cobb learned quickly that he had to make a name for himself if he wanted to be somebody in Gotham. So, inspired by the bat signal, he decided to make his thing signals, and would use signals to hint at his next crime and to assist him with his robberies. There was a time where he briefly gave up the identity of the Signal Man and became the Blue Bowman after learning how Green Arrow made his trick arrows, but then returned to Signal Man after being defeated.
Okay, so he does what?
He uses signals to assist him with committing his crimes.
That has not cleared anything up.
Nope.
Mhm.
I mean, look at his cape. He's got all sorts of shapes. He's got treble clefs and diamonds and stars and what looks to be Pac-Man.
I don't know how that's gonna help him commit crimes, though.
Well, I mean, he has this massive scale in the background for some reason.
Okay, that raises further questions and zero answers currently.
Signal
Oh.
Man.
Can we just like get rid of him, please?
Let's move
Yeah.
past Signal Man to Zebra Man. So Zebra Man first debuted in Detective Comics number 275 in January of 1960. Jacob Baker was a scientist whose body was altered to the black and white striped appearance that he has after a machine he created exploded. That explosion overloaded his body with magnetic force, which requires him to wear a special belt to control the magnetic field that he was naturally generating. He was stopped after Batman also was altered into a zebra-like appearance when the same machine overloaded and granted Batman the same magnetic powers that he used to beat Zebra Man.
What?
Yeah, don't you know this like the commonality between zebras and magnets, you know?
Yeah, of course.
That's why zebras are Magneto's favorite animal in the Marvel universe.
That is true.
You take
That's a
Magneto to
fact.
the zoo, first thing he's going to do is going to want to go to the Africa part of the zoo and check out the zebras.
Hmm. Okay.
They
I
call
feel
them
like
animal.
this is the 5th or 6th in a row where we've just had something man.
Yeah, they were really
as the
handcuffed when it
name.
came to creating characters because they had all those
Somebody
rules to abide by.
But also the thing that he is like dreadfully like uninteresting.
Hmm.
Like, oh, Signal Man, he can do signals. Like, uh-huh. A Calendar Man, he has a calendar. I'm like, uh-huh. Cyberman, something to do with magnets. You're like, all right,
So-
sure. Like,
So remember, one of those rules are you cannot make crime look glamorous or cool. So all these criminals
Wow.
are looking like fucking dorks
you don't think
I
that
was
looks
gonna say.
cool? Ripping that fucking door apart?
by pushing a button on his belt.
The zebra part looks not cool, but ripping that fucking bank apart looks cool as hell. I want to do that.
Sounds
I'm
like
gonna
you want to
absolutely-
be Zebra Man.
Well, I mean, I want to rip a bank in half, and if I have to be Zebraman to do that, then I guess that's what I have to do.
All right, well, we'll rig a machine to explode near you, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Corey. You're always looking out for me.
Always looking out for you, Dylan. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, moving past Zebra Man, we have the Rainbow Creature. So the Rainbow Creature first debuted in Batman number 134 in September of 1960. The creature, he was born in a freak accident inside of a volcano. Nothing else is known.
Really?
Nothing else is
Cool.
known. Each of those colors that he has on him do something different. The red stripe is capable of burning through objects. The blue stripe is capable of making projectiles brittle with intense cold. The yellow stripe turns things into mist. And the green stripe flattens the victim into a two-dimensional state. And when one of its colors are used, the stripe is rendered white, and it must be replenished by stealing that color from something else.
Mm-hmm.
So Batman and Robin were able to defeat the creature by making it use all of its powers at once, and it crumbled into dust when it was completely white.
Corey, we've seen a lot of creatures
Yes.
on this show. A lot of different villains, a lot of different, characters of varying degrees of creative design. And this might be the worst one that we've seen.
I mean, the Aquaman episode in particular had a lot of real goof little sea monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Rainbow Creature is a rough one.
Why is his torso so big and his so small?
I don't know.
And his tiny little little gopher hands. What do you call them? Meerkat hands?
Yeah. And he's supposed to be a rainbow as well. He's only 4 colors.
4 colors. There's 7 colors.
Like a rainbow in the dark.
Why does he have rainbow power from a volcano?
Well, we don't know anything else about his origins,
Is he glowing green? And none of the other colors?
He's getting ready to use his green power that will flatten the victim into a two-dimensional state.
I don't know if this was the one you were talking about, but I hate this.
This is not the one I was talking about.
I don't like this.
We are not at that one quite yet.
This is going to be the thumbnail.
Rainbow Creature?
I hate him so much.
Well, there's still plenty to go.
Okay.
Up next, Dr. No-Face.
Okay.
So, Dr. No-Face first debuted in Detective Comics number 319 in September of 1963. After suffering an accident with his skin rejuvenation ray, Dr. Paul Tent discovered he literally erased his face and was driven crazy by the trauma. Dr. No-Face's main crime is literally just defacing things. Posters, portraits, statues, etc. If it has a face, he wants it gone. So ultimately, he is apprehended after he tries to sandblast the sculpted face of Batman off of Mount Gotham. I have been reading Batman for a very, very long time. I have never recalled ever in the background being a mountain range that included a Mount Rushmore-esque carving of Batman's face.
In 1963, they were already so confident with Batman. They're like, yeah, we'll put your face on a big rock.
Yep.
Don't worry about what you're going to do in the future. Now is the perfect. You beat up Calendar Man. You beat up whatever the fuck. Put his face on the rock. That's all we need.
Yep. So ultimately, it's revealed that Dr. No-Face isn't Paul Dent because Paul Dent is agoraphobic and would not leave the indoors. In reality, Dr. No-Face was a career criminal who lost his face after using the same skin rejuvenation ray to remove some scars off of his face. And ultimately, he wanted to frame Dent for the crimes as revenge. So there are 2 Dr. No-Faces. One was a villain, and the other one was just traumatized heavily.
Also very convoluted for no reason.
And weirdly as well, I'm assuming Dr. Paul Dent isn't any relation to Harvey Dent, Two-Face?
None whatsoever, apparently.
Was Dent a popular surname in 60s?
And remember, at one point, Harvey Dent's real name was Harvey Kent, but they changed the name to Harvey Dent to separate him from Superman because they didn't want people to think they were related.
Is there another Dent out there who's like Three-Face?
I remember one time there being a Three-Face character, and that's not a joke.
I like the idea that there might be a different Dent and his identity is just one face.
Well, we know Duella Dent. She was.
We sure do.
She was in the Teen Titans.
That's who we know.
That
We all know
honestly,
that.
there might be one of these like PowerPoint presentations that are just for members of the Teen Titans you've never heard of. Because the Teen Titans
Okay.
have had an extensive roster, even though like usually just people think of like Nightwing, Starfire, Beast Boy, you know, the characters from the cartoon. They've had a lengthy roster full of a bunch of fucking weirdos.
Good.
So that might be a good future episode.
Okay.
All right. Moving past Dr. No Face, though, we have Gaggy.
Uh-oh.
First debuting in Batman number 186 in November of 1966, Gagsworth A. Gagsworthy was the original type. Yep, Dylan, can I tell you? This is the character.
I suspected as much. Look at the fucking picture. If you're listening to Spotify, go to the YouTube page to whatever timestamp this is, and look at the picture of Gaggy.
Please, Gagsworth A. Gagsworthy. Use his full name.
Gagsworth A. Gagsworthy. How much did his parents hate him?
So, Gagsworth A. Gagsworthy was the original tightrope walker for Haley Circus before the Flying Graysons were hired. Out of his job as a star acrobat, he was resigned to being a clown and a member of the Freak Show, which he resented for obvious reasons. So after
that's the role he was born to play.
After lashing out at his fellow clowns during performance, the Joker saw potential in Gaggy and hired him to be his answer to Robin. So there was a time when Joker was fighting Batman, Robin, a 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy, was fighting a full-grown dwarf named Gaggy.
Oh, I don't know why that got me. Like, imagine the Joker saw this fucking prick walking down the road. He's like, "Do you think Robin is? Because I think
you should beat up this 12-year-old boy." Oh boy.
What's your name, son? Wow. Oh, I hate him. Oh, God, it's the worst thing. He's worse than Rainbow Man.
Yeah, I like I said, I had a feeling that Gaggy would be the one. You'd either love him or hate him.
There is like nothing redeeming about this character.
You don't like his little dance?
I hate everything about him. Why is he like? What is this?
So in post-crisis continuity, Joker and Gaggy faced Batman and Robin multiple times until Joker was sent to Arkham and Gaggy was sent to Blackgate Prison because he's not crazy like the Joker is. Once out of prison, Gaggy learned that he'd been replaced by Harley Quinn, and he blames her for Joker becoming a super violent psychopath.
In any of the continuities, is there any reality where Gaggy just dies and goes away?
There is so there was a Joker comic series that had these really bizarre backup stories. And in the backup stories, it was like Francesco Francavilla did the art for it. It was phenomenal. It was really in his style of like using a lot of dark colors and orange. But it was just sort of like these weird misadventures of Joker, Gaggy, and a clown gorilla named Jackanape. And one of them involved Zatanna getting mad at the Joker and making him pregnant. So the Joker gave birth to a smaller version of himself in the comic. It was one of the weirdest things ever. I remember like Fox News was like, Joker impreg?
Corey, I asked you if Gagsworth died.
Yes,
and
he died in a lot of those. He died in a lot of those backup stories.
Pregnant?
Yeah. You asked me what the time was, and I told you how to like build a watch from scratch. But
you really went for it. Yeah, I'm not super happy with that answer.
Yeah. So there are many of those backup stories where Gaggy and Jackanape die. But they're obviously weirdly out of continuity, so like they'd just be fine in the next issue anyway.
We just get away from this character.
You're ready to move past Gaggy?
I was ready to move past Gaggy as soon as I saw Gaggy.
He reminds me of Toad.
Yeah, definitely.
He's got a Toad quality to him.
Toad could dance better than this guy.
All right.
Look at him. He's bucking when he should have winged.
Yeah, he bucked when he winged. Don't you hate when that happens?
Amateur. fucking idiot.
Introducing Gagsworthy, dwarf extraordinaire, refugee from a circus, and now court jester to the clown prince of crime.
I'm really
Terrible dancer.
I don't want to say that we found a new horrible mascot for the show because it happens every couple of months.
Yes.
I don't want this guy to be part of the crew, but
right there with Baby Juggernaut, Armless Tiger Man, and Cool Croc.
And Weird Face Guy.
And Weird Face Kid, yeah.
Weird Face Kid, yeah.
All right. Well, moving past Gaggy, because by popular demand.
Please.
The Eraser.
So
the Eraser first debuted in Batman number 188 in December of 1966. So yeah, for 20% of the goods, the Eraser would assist Gotham's criminals with erasing their tracks when it came to their heists. Under the mask, the Eraser is Bruce Wayne's former college classmate, Lenny Fiasco. Best fucking name I read the whole day that I was doing research. Lenny Fiasco. That's a fucking name. Anyway,
just had a guy Gagsworthy.
Yeah. So Lenny Fiasco, who is known to make many simple mistakes and errors in class. This drove the Eraser into being someone who makes sure mistakes don't happen. And his Eraser mask is coated in a compound that has the ability to, quote, erase anything, like footprints and clues. Basically, it just vanishes out of existence when he rubs his head on it.
That's stupid.
Wow. He feels more like a Tick villain than a Batman villain.
He absolutely looks like a Tick villain.
He does. This guy, I don't like him either.
All right, well, let's move past the Eraser and we'll jump straight to the Monarch of Menace. First debuting in Detective Comics number 350 in April of 1966. The Monarch of Menace was a royal-themed criminal who represented Batman's first failure, as he was able to escape Gotham with the things he stole due to his various gadgets and trickery. He is soon lured out of retirement after his teenage son, trying to prove himself to his father, dons the Monarch of Menace costume but is defeated by Robin. This return to active duty proves to be his downfall, as Batman finally is able to bring him to justice years later.
So why? Hang on. So his son steals the costume and then gets beat up by Robin.
Yes.
And then the Monarch himself is like, well, now I have to keep doing crimes.
I gotta redeem my name because my kid has embarrassed me and brought shame to the Monarch of Menace title.
He beat up Batman. Who cares if he got beat up by Robin? Beat up Batman.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, the Monarch of Menace, you hear about him? Yeah, the guy who got away from Batman. Yeah, he came back and Robin beat him.
Yeah, but no, Batman beat him. So he's got beaten by Batman and Robin.
Yeah, exactly. It was foolhardy of his son to do.
Pretty stupid.
I'm kind of amazed how this got past the comic code as well, because it looks very much like he's not wearing any pants whatsoever.
Hey, they're white.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
All right.
Sure it's not his skin?
No. See, his skin has like a peach quality to it if you look at the hand directly beside the white leg.
That's true.
Okay.
All right, moving past the Monarch of Menace, we have the Bouncer. First debuting in Detective Comics number 347 in January of 1966. The Bouncer was a metallurgist who invented an alloy that was bouncy like rubber, but armored to protect the wearer. He was defeated when Batman and Robin stretched their suits to their elastic limit, which would cause their suits to be incapable of regaining their original size and shape. The dynamic duo placed electrodes into their costumes, and then circled the villain while allowing a cold beam to pass through them and quick freeze the Bouncer, rendering him inert.
I feel like that is probably a thing that works better in a comic book panel as opposed to being written down to describe people who have no idea what the fuck that means.
All three of the things that I read that was a part of that plan seem completely unrelated to one another. Why did they have to stretch the costume? Why did they need to put electrodes in there? Where the fuck did the quick freeze beam come from?
Didn't they shoot them with a beam?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's science. Don't question science.
So, the Bouncer would return as a minion for the Monarch of Menace at a later story as well.
Good that he's still employed.
All right. Past the Bouncer, we have the Zodiac Master. So first debuting in Detective Comics number 323 in January of 1964. The Zodiac Master is a fortune teller who, for 20% of the take, would tell criminals how successful their heists were going to be according to the stars. And each symbol on his costume could be removed and turned into a weapon. So, like the Gemini symbol would be two twin flaming flying figures, basically like little miniature human torches that he could like launch at you. The Sagittarius was a destructive jet arrow. Aries, a ram that is also an incendiary device. Scorpio is an entangling mesh net. And Cancer was a crab that can fly and pluck objects up with its claws, while Capricorn, the goat, is a battering ram.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
So the first question is, 20% of the take would tell criminals how successful their heists are going to be. Does he get that first? Does he say, listen, give me 20% of whatever you make from this heist, and I'll tell you if it's good or not? And then they say yes. And then he goes, oh, it's 0%, you're fucked. Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
How does that work? The
Yeah.
second thing is, that's a lobster. That's not a crab.
This is our second episode. Well, it's not his second episode in a row, but it is the second time that lobsters have randomly come up. So, John,
I
that's
like
that's your incentive to listen to our cool croc episode.
I will do that.
But it's a great episode. The cool croc's in it.
Because he's a cool croc.
He's a cool croc.
Anyway, yeah, Zodiac Master. I don't know how, like, whose Zodiac, like, whose astrology thing he's reading. Is it like the guy who planned the heist? Is he going to read, like, his horoscope to determine whether or not it's going to work? Or, like, how does he discern that?
We have so many questions about this that it's clear they didn't think about this logistically at all.
No. Not at all.
You know what I
Moving
mean?
past the Zodiac Master.
I find this happens. Oh my god.
Bag of Bones. So Bag of Bones first debuted in Batman number 195 in September of 1967. Ned Cregan was a criminal who broke into a scientist's lab and was subjected to a purple ray that caused his skin to turn transparent, but granted him radiation powers. The scientist gave him pills that would allow him to turn the power off, but warned him that every second he spent in his superpowered form, he would lose a day of his life in return. So opting to risk years of his life in one heist, Cregan dubbed himself Bag of Bones. And after being stopped by Batman, Cregan spent years in prison, and his powers mutated. He grew stronger and more stable, and thus renamed himself the One-Man Meltdown, or just Meltdown.
I really like that concept, where they're like, the more you're in your superpowered form, the less time you'll live when you come out of it.
Yeah.
That's a really cool concept that I feel like they did not capitalize on at all in this.
Well, we are getting towards the end of the Silver Age in 1967 as well. And we're starting to get to the Bronze Age where they got a little looser with the rules.
Well, after this, they say he went to prison where his powers mutated, so he just stayed in his skeleton form then, yeah?
Well, no, because if he did, he'd lose a day in his life. So he was on the pills that made him normal.
Regular dude. How do you know his powers mutated? I don't understand.
Because he broke out of prison.
You would tell when they mutated because he was Skeleton Boy.
Yeah. When his powers mutated, he didn't turn into Skeleton Boy anymore. That's why he stopped going by Bag of Bones, because he stopped being translucent.
But I'm saying before that, when he was in prison, he was just a guy.
Yeah.
So how would you know his powers?
I think like he stopped getting treatment, and that's like was what led to his powers mutating. There's a storyline he becomes a villain, I think, for Black Lightning and the Outsiders. So I saw little glimpses of that while I was doing research on him. It is weirdly explained, but it's like this happens in like the 1970s. So I didn't really pay too much attention to it.
Fair enough.
Feels like he should team up with Lord Deathman.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
Done.
All right, up next. The Clock.
Oh, dear.
So The Clock first debuted in Detective Comics number 265 in March of 1959. Slugsy Kyle was a small-time crook who was captured by Batman and locked up. And while locked away, he became obsessed with two things: revenge on Batman and clocks, since Batman was making him, quote, do time. So once he was released from jail... Once he was released from jail, he made a clock-themed costume and filled his hideout with clocks. And his crime wave started with blowing up a clock tower, stealing the watch screws from a wristwatch factory, and attempting to steal the jewels from a giant pocket watch from the Gotham Clock Fair. Ultimately, he was caught in the giant pocket watch's springs and sent back to prison.
Can I argue one thing?
Yes.
In this synopsis of the clock, it says he is obsessed with two things. One is the revenge of Batman, and the second one is clocks.
Yes.
I would argue, given what you've said to us, that he is obsessed with one thing, and that is clocks. And Batman doesn't seem to fit into the rest of it. It's just all clocks. He's insane because of clocks. Batman has fuck all to do. What does stealing the watch screws from a wristwatch factory going to do to really set Batman back a million years?
That part really confused me because they said it was a wealthy wristwatch factory. I'm like, what does that even mean?
It's like, even if Bruce Wayne had like stocks in that factory, the fucking clock wouldn't know that.
No.
The fuck?
Batman looks like a man who would enjoy a nice wristwatch.
I bet he has several, yeah.
Also, what the hell is Slugsy as a
Slugsy
nickname?
Kyle.
Why do they call him Slugsy? Because he leaves a really weird trail wherever he goes.
Yes.
What's that got to do with clocks? Nothing.
No, he's just leaky.
Oh, you don't want a leaky clock.
You don't want a leaky clock.
Listen, we've all been there. We've all had a leaky clock sometimes. Sometimes you got to go to the doctor.
There's this thing going on in America right now where they're saying don't buy lettuce or greens right now because there's some sort of parasitic bacteria that makes you basically have dysentery.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
What's that got to do with the clock?
Well, we were talking about, leaky.
The trail he would leave?
Yeah.
You think he ate some bad
He had a big Caesar salad for lunch.
Yeah.
And now he's paying for it.
No, I'm obsessed with three things.
I'm obsessed with 3 things. Finding a bathroom.
Yeah.
Revenge on Batman, clocks, finding a bathroom.
Clocks is number one, really.
All right.
Why is his thing on his head pointing to his fucking nose?
I mean, look at.
Also, why is his eye so far apart?
You're just having a lot of fun with the clock.
I didn't think I would, but
can I tell you, when I saw this image, I was like, I did have that thought about, like, I think Dylan's really gonna like this one too.
This one, out of all the ones we've seen, this is the one that's intrigued me the most.
It's been a tale of two cities for you. You've got the joy of looking at the clock, and you've got the disgust of looking at Gaggy.
Boy, I hate Gaggy.
All right, up next, we have the Masquerader.
Now this is a cool guy.
So the Masquerader first debuted in Detective Comics number 390 in August of 1969. We are at the tail end of the Silver Age with the Masquerader. So the Masquerader made his debut by making sure to tear and rip Batman's costume every encounter they had while escaping. So after having to, have his costume torn, Batman had to go to his personal tailor, Samuel Tweed, who is the tailor of all the Batsuits, which I'm sure it was a factoid you didn't know.
Has this ever come up, ever?
Well, Batman learned that the Masquerader had learned of Samuel Tweed and held him hostage, forcing him to modify Batman's costume with a special lining that would grow heavier if it didn't absorb moisture.
Whoa. Real quick, super quick.
What?
Yes.
So many people have not been able to, like, figure out anything about Batman or Batman and Bruce Wayne. It's been, like, such a huge secret. And this fucking clown
figured out who Batman's tailor was.
This weird ass fisherman just was like, who has fins on his head? It looks like.
Yeah.
For no reason.
He looks like if you crossed an Aquaman villain with a red skull.
Correct. That's exactly what he looks like. And then he was just like, oh yeah, this is his tailor. I know that. Of course I know that.
Well, the Masquerader then lured Batman into a trap with bright lamps above him to heat the moisture out of the air, and Batman was getting crushed inside his own costume. Then the Masquerader revealed that the reason he knew about Samuel Tweed's being his personal tailor is the Masquerader is Samuel Tweed.
Okay.
Dun.
Yeah.
And Batman escaped by using his bat laser to trigger the sprinkler system, which got his costume wet, thus allowing him to move again and apprehend the masquerader.
In terms of like really convoluted storylines that we've heard throughout this one might be like right at the top. There's
Well,
like
Yeah.
a lot of moving parts here that are quite coincidental. Like, you know. Also, why the masquerader?
Well, he was masquerading as Batman's tailor.
I
Not
guess,
good.
but the whole I can't get my head around this
Material that makes your costume heavier if it doesn't absorb moisture.
Well, it's like, did he think Batman was like, Prince Edward and he doesn't sweat? Or
Man, when you're constantly having to repair Batman suits, you do notice if there's like any perspiration in the pits and the crotch of that costume, I bet.
Has he ever been to Pizza Express?
and also, like, he puts him in a room with bright lamps, which, like, surely the bright lamps are gonna make Batman sweat more, not like
That's
take out
true.
the
Oh
moisture
no, they
in
were
the room.
so hot that it evaporated immediately.
No,
Jesus.
me and John can say for a fact that when it gets really hot, it doesn't evaporate the sweat.
Yeah.
If anything, it brings more.
All right.
Just like line the suit with poison or something, you moron.
I just see a fishing rod.
This was the only image of the masquerader I could find, by the way. I tried to find any other image of him I could, and I was just coming up with nothing. So this is from the cover.
Best we got.
Best we got.
We got the front cover. The inside pages were all lost to time.
They all absorbed too much moisture.
Well, I know what that's like.
Yep. All right. Well, this is the end of our Silver Age PowerPoint presentation. So we will jump back over to the cameras shortly. Back to that sort of walk through the Silver Age. So we had all of those rules in place for the Comics Code of Authority. It was not as bombastic as the Golden Age. Like the Golden Age villains, there were vampires and Nazis and the ugliest man alive, and there was I'm thinking of like the penny guy, the penny plunderer. There's a lot of like real big bombastic activity there with vampires and werewolves and stuff. So here we just had a lot of dudes in suits with like really specific gimmicks.
Yes.
Mm.
A lot of men.
Yes. Well, because Batman couldn't fight women. Because
no, not specifically that. It's like something man.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot.
So Silver Age is also famous for like this is when Batgirl showed up. It's also when the original Batwoman and Batgirl showed up because there was a different Batgirl. She was Bat-Girl, kind of like Spider-Man. So
sure.
So yeah, that there might be an episode about them in the future because it is a weird period of time there. But yes, so like these female characters were getting introduced, but like Batman didn't really get to interact with them very much. Although I do remember one story where he apprehended a woman by putting her over his knee and spanking her.
Oh dear.
So
Wow, was she drawn realistically?
She was drawn realistically.
And that's fine.
That's
Keep
all
it
we
up.
need
There
to
you
know.
go, yeah.
It wasn't presented as sexual. It was meant to be very demeaning.
It's a normal thing that happens to women in the 60s.
Getting spanked?
Sure.
Sure.
I wasn't there.
No.
I would imagine so.
I watched Mad Men. I think I've seen it there.
Yeah. It's a documentary.
Yeah, exactly. Everything that happened in Mad Men is exactly how it happened.
That's it.
So, that being said, what were your thoughts on some of these Silver Age characters? Who stood out to you in good ways and who stood out to you in bad ways?
I mean, honestly, the two that I hated the most are Rainbow Creature and Gaggy. I think they were so horrible that I don't remember any of the other ones. Oh, I did like Lord Deathman.
Lord Deathman was rad.
Mm-hmm.
John, you have any thoughts on any of these characters?
I am still really confused by the Masquerader.
Yeah.
His plan to get Batman makes no sense whatsoever.
Nope.
You would think like having a suit that would absorb moisture and crush him and having him heat up under the lamps and like make him sweat a bunch, that would be the obvious thing to do. But we went the opposite way on that one. I think it's really also just there are so many odd little things they do because the Silver Age was known for silly shit happening. Because I mean, this was like at its most like comics are for kids, essentially. So like the Batman Mountain in Gotham for the Doctor No Face storyline, Batman's got his own personal tailor that makes all of his suits for him. That just has like a regular shop by the sound of it.
Yeah.
This is also in the era of Aunt Harriet. I'm not sure if you guys remember or know of the Aunt Harriet character. But she was a part of the 1960s series as well. So not only was Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson living in Wayne Manor with Alfred as their butler, there was also this old woman who was Aunt Harriet, who I assume was like a family member of Bruce's that was staying with them and would like dote after them, but she had no idea that Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson were Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
So that was like I remember that being kind of a thing that happened in the 60s TV show was like a lot of things like, yes, we have to get away from Aunt Harriet. And Alfred would run interference for them as they went down the bat pole into the bat cave.
We've all been down the bat pole.
Yep. So, the Masquerader was the last one for a reason because the plan was so over the top and just ridiculous. I always try to pace them out, so I start with like original like takes on like Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, and then like just it gets worse as it goes. That's like ultimately my goal with these PowerPoints.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Mission accomplished.
Thank you. I hate to tell you how long it took me to make that because it is a good bit of like research that I put into those, so it is like a surprisingly long time putting those together, but it's always worthwhile in my opinion.
Yeah, it's fun.
I enjoy seeing you guys laugh.
And Grimace.
And Grimace. Like I said, as soon as I saw Gaggy and I went, oh, that's right. Man, Dylan's either going to think he's the funniest fucking thing in the world or the worst.
Yep, correct.
Yep. All right. Well, speaking of the funniest thing in the world or the worst, John, where are you at in your movie count so far?
Ooh, I am now up to 713 movies for the year so far.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And the last one you watched, was it the funniest thing, the worst thing, or just something right in the middle?
I mean, it was pretty funny, to be fair. It was an adaptation of the Shakespeare play The Taming of the Shrew from 1967.
There you go.
With Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton in the two lead roles. And they were very funny, playing off each other. Like, I've not really seen Elizabeth Taylor do a lot of comedy roles before, but she was pretty hilarious in it. So
was this a
check
period
it out.
piece?
Yes, very much so. All with the Shakespearean language as well.
Very nice.
But yeah, it was good.
And what did you give it on Letterboxd?
I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5.
There you go.
Pretty good.
And John, if they want to see more thoughts on other adaptations of Shakespeare that you may have watched over the years, where can they go to find those?
They can head to Letterboxd and find me at Big John Bowski, or one word.
Did you ever see the 90s version of Hamlet that had Bill Murray as Polonius?
Oh, no.
I remember that being a thing. I was at a Royal Shakespeare conference years ago, and it was basically just a lot of people who study Shakespeare reading and doing presentations of like papers that they've written about it. And I was just like watching this guy talk about the adaptation of Hamlet because it was like after the Baz Luhrmann Romeo plus Juliet movie. So they were like, can we strike gold again and have a modern adaptation of a classic Shakespeare movie? No, not by the sound of it. But did feature Bill Murray as Polonius. So, who doesn't love Bill Murray showing up randomly in something?
Polonius has the best line in the play as well, I believe.
Which
I am slain.
I imagine
Sure.
he plays it just like he played his character getting killed in Zombieland, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Dylan, speaking
Yes.
of the great Shakespearean character Polonius, what do you get up to during the week? Aside from getting stabbed through a curtain.
Well, I try to do that every month. Every week is unobtainable, honestly, but every month you can do that. On Monday nights, I do a radio show on bouncedigitalradio.co.uk. I do my show from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock UK time. We play a lot of cool rock music and whatever else I like. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. You can listen to it on your web browser, on your phone. Monday nights, UK time. Stream sometimes on Twitch, Spooky LaRue. I draw pictures and I animate those pictures on YouTube at Team Crows and I on TikTok at Team Crow Studios.
There you go.
That's what I do.
And as for me, I have my other show, Large Old Cup, where I just recorded an episode at 3:30 in the morning and told a rather long story about an incident with a football coach turned health teacher who did not know how to properly pronounce the word pneumonia in front of a classroom. And uh, it's worth a listen. But to give you a spoiler, he wrote the word pneumonia on the chalkboard, looked at the textbook for a while, turned back to us and said, "You could die from pneumonia."
It's true. It
And
is true.
you could die because that was the moment of realization I had when I got my test results back from the doctor and it says pneumonia. And I went, oh no, I could die from pneumonia.
Pneumonia.
And this is like, that's karma coming back to me years later after I laughed at
Laughed
this man.
about it. You laughed about it.
I certainly did. Aside from that, though, I have new number ones. The most recent one I did was for a comic by Ignition Press called Dispatched. That is basically a Jason Statham movie turned into a comic book, where a former Black Ops agent, who is now a delivery driver, is put in a hostage situation where he has to stop the terrorists and save everybody in the building.
Nice.
It sounds like a movie John would give 2 stars to.
You don't know.
Oh, maybe 3 stars.
Maybe 3
You a big fan of
stars.
Statham?
I mean,
Look at that.
Big
his
fan of The
movies are
Beekeeper?
basically all the same, but what he does is pretty entertaining most of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But yes, it was like the writer did a really great job with the lead character in developing him. So I mean, I gave it a pretty favorable review in that sense. But
Good.
you can find episodes of New Number Ones on our YouTube channel, along with the video format of this. So if you did listen to this on Spotify the whole time, watch it on YouTube so that you can see these great illustrations that we have been enjoying as we went through the Silver Age of Batman's Rogues Gallery. Until next time, though, I think that's going to be all for us.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Excellent work.
Gagsworth, a Gagsworthy.